Hello, I'm Ken Eastman, Dean of the Spear School of Business. On this podcast, Alexis Hightower and I sit down along with a variety of business professionals to talk about all things business. Whether this is your lunch, study break, walk to class, or your drive to work, we're happy to have you along. Welcome to what we call the Buzz on Business. Alexis, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I am just delightful, and I am just thrilled to have two guests with us who I've known for a little while, right? It has been a delight to know them. And of course, you see their name plastered all over the place.
All over campus.
So this is the people's chance to get to know them up close and personal. So Alexis, why don't you start us with a question?
All right, Michael and Ann Greenwood, happy to have you guys here in the Spear School of Business.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Of course. Now, what brought you guys to OSU and everything? Like, what got you guys really motivated to help make a change in OSU too? Did you guys start here in undergrad?
Well, we should start with the biographical. Have you forgotten how this works, Alexis?
I was just wanting to know their connection to OSU first.
Well, we got to start first where you're from.
Okay, we'll start from the very beginning.
Right, we got to back up.
All the way to when I was born.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where was that?
I was born in Southwest Oklahoma in a very, very small town, a farm community, Carnegie, Oklahoma.
Okay.
I chose Oklahoma State because I visited this university and I thought it was the kindest and the nicest people. I loved the size of it. Coming from a small campus, I love the idea of getting to meet people from everywhere. Because, you pretty much ran through, when they have a school as small as mine, you knew everybody. And it was just fun to have the opportunities. And it was the best place for me. I love it. And that's why we choose to support it, why we chose to support it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma, North Tulsa generally. And unlike Ann, I actually never had any intention of going to college. I'm first generation. In my neighborhood, it just wasn't, none of my family went to college, none of my friends, neighborhood, anybody. So coming here was a big leap, for me. And luckily I took the leap. So.
And it ended up great.
Yeah. Worked out okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I would say Tulsa's a little bit bigger than Carnegie.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a tad.
Actually, when I first met Ann, a funny story, she's from Western Oklahoma, Southwest, I'm from Northeast. I never heard of Carnegie, Oklahoma. And we got talking and I said, that's interesting. I said, my high school was twice the size of your hometown. Okay, kind of thing. So, yeah.
However, when I took him down there to visit it, he absolutely embraced the small town community because it's a wonderful community. Lots of farmers. It's a farm community. And that's in fact why I chose one of our scholarships. I honor those who work on farms because I know I did. But there was no money to pay the children. You just worked and it was expected. And there's like four paying jobs. And they didn't, unless you were the lifeguard, you were just free labor to your parents, basically. And so one of our scholarships, mine in particular, honors those who grew up in that little county because we send a lot of kids to college. And remarkably, my high school sent 50% of the kids go to college, as probably opposed to yours. I have aunts and uncles who went to university here. It was never anything but expected of me to come here. But we didn't have a lot of money and we had 5 kids. So they said, you got to figure out how to do it. And I was lucky and got a scholarship, which is why I honor Oklahoma State back with scholarships.
And we also have a scholarship from my high school, which is Will Rogers High School in Tulsa. And the reason for that is, again, most of those kids are going to be first generation also to show them that, there is another way. And if I can do it, you can do it.
Came from the same background and everything too.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I love that.
What were your undergraduate degrees?
Well, mine was marketing and economics. And then I also went and got an MBA also. Then I went to law school for a while also, as you know. So
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Accounting. No master's for me, just accounting. The time that we all left our university ready to go to work, there was such an abundance of jobs in Tulsa in oil and gas that they hired us. We had our jobs like fall semester. So I know current students were probably like, what? And they were just dying for people. But interestingly enough, back in 1976, there weren't as many women in accounting. So I don't think that is a unique thing for me to share. Laurie would have had, even though she is, of course, younger than I, she would have the
just
same.
Slightly.
Well, it's just for your generation, you can't imagine the difference as we started the workforce to be it's just different. And crazy things like you could smoke in the workplace, things that you couldn't imagine in your lifetime.
I was going to say, not at all.
No.
It was horrible. It was
It was
horrible.
horrible because
So,
I don't
yeah.
like it. I have allergies. It doesn't work for me. But I come from a family of educators, and I thought, I really don't want to be a teacher. So I was very thankful that Oklahoma State, we had a great business school then. We have an even better one now.
Oh, absolutely. I love this building.
Oh,
Yeah, I
my.
mean, one of the faculty when I started, there was just this constant smoke haze out of his office.
Yeah, you can't get it out.
I know, yeah, I know.
No.
I think we just closed it down with hazmat for
Yeah.
a while.
No
just
kidding.
because,
Like the
my
asbestos,
Oh, yeah.
whatever remedy, cigarette
I feel
smoke
my
remedy.
cancer chances went up dramatically just walking by his office.
Yeah.
I know you can't imagine it, but that was the truth.
Not at all.
And back then, that business building over there seemed kind of new. So that was a long time ago. Kind of like the Sertine Center. I thought that was nice.
Oh,
That
yeah.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah. So did y'all meet in college when you guys were here?
No, actually, we were here at the same time, but I wasn't good enough for her anyway, back in those days.
Well, Carnegie
But-
has
but
pretty
here's-
high standards.
Here's an interesting story about how, although we were here at the same time, didn't know each other, but it was still, at the end of the day, it was OSU that got us together. And I'll tell you the quick story here, was we actually worked for the same company, but we were in different buildings. So wouldn't even run into each other, type thing. And one Friday after work, there was a little gathering, and one of my staff members asked me if I was going to it. And I said, no, because I never went to those. He said, well, there's this lady I want you to meet because I think she bleeds orange more than you do.
Oh, and you said a
Okay.
challenge.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I said, well, I got to meet her. So that's where I met Ann. And then, I don't know, just shortly thereafter that, she left the company. So I thought, well, okay,
There
never
goes
see
my
her
chance.
again.
Yeah.
But there's roughly 4 major OSU events in Tulsa every year. And Jim Barnes, who was the CEO of my company, he's a major OSU supporter also. He always had tickets to all these events. Well, he never wins. He just gave them to me. He said, you go. So the first time I go, there's Ann.
He's there.
Okay. I go to the next event. There's Ann again. Okay. So then after this went on for actually years, actually. And then it got to after 3 years, now we're looking for each other at the event. Like, well, is Ann going to be here? And so that went on for 6 years, actually. And then after the 6th year, we actually started dating and then we got married. So yeah. So we got married when we were 40. So
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. I love that.
I didn't know the extended pre-courtship part
Yes.
of it.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Had to think about it.
Hey, you don't want to rush into it. I mean,
Yeah,
I-
no need to rush into it. No, I think the difference is when you're in your 20s, you're like, yeah, get married, live happily ever after, which of course you did. But you also have seen the other side. And so you think a little bit harder about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad we did. It was perfect. And then we've now been married 28 years.
20 years. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was about to ask how long.
Yeah, 28 years.
What's the date? What's the anniversary
July
date?
19th.
Yep.
We were lucky enough to get married in Maui. And I didn't realize how brilliant that decision was, because then you go, after 5 years, you said, maybe we should go back to celebrate our anniversary. After 10, then it's like, maybe we should go every year.
Yeah.
To ultimately, now we are most fortunate to own a home there. So we
Oh
go
my
to the
goodness.
place, except for COVID year, where we got married the same day,
Every year.
and
Every year.
every year,
Yep.
except for COVID. But so far, we're okay. We're still hanging in.
Mm-hmm.
But I just said, it'd be kind of fun. My father was in the Navy and he was in Hawaii. And he said, you're going to love Hawaii. You need to go. And I said, I'll marry you if you take me to Hawaii. And he did.
Wow.
Well, he never says no. I think.
No,
that's
he
what-
doesn't say no.
Obviously. Yeah. So, yeah.
So talk about your career path when you left here and then what you guys did.
Well, I was oil and gas, and pretty much it was wonderful. I mean, there was jobs abundant. We were getting paid extremely well. Then, as cyclical as it is, things started going to Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, and I didn't want to go there. I loved Tulsa, and I needed to be there, and so I just had to kind of follow that and chase that, even to the point of going to manufacturing, because I thought, yeah, they build things. Well, it was McDonnell Douglas, which had a big Navy contract for a plane. Well, the Navy canceled the plane. And so I was like, well, okay. So then I go to utility accounting. I'm like, oh no, everybody needs electricity. And it was great. And that's where I spent the last 15 years, but it's just a different world. It ultimately merged the Central and Southwest with American Electric Power, making us the third largest electric utility. But most jobs are moved into Columbus, Ohio, which I'd rather go to Houston. I mean, Columbus is fine. It's just really cold. I mean, it's a big change. And there's another OSU up
Yes,
there.
the other OSU.
The
OSU.
I took a lot of flack.
Oh, yeah,
The
the big one.
Yeah, the real OSU
Yeah.
is up there. So I was like, nah,
That
that's
never
good.
worked. Yeah.
But I was able to utility accounting work to the end until I retired early. Lucky enough to retire early. And we chose this as our retirement home because I'd been studying how college towns have so much to offer.
Mhm.
It's particularly as you age, you're around a group of like-minded people. You're constantly learning if you choose to. You have art, music, athletics. You go listening to the CEO day, listening to our young alums. It's amazing. The opportunities are many. And that's why there's so many of us in the city currently.
Yeah, that's true.
I love that.
It's fun.
Well, I learned a valuable trade in prison, but I didn't use it. So when I got out of school, it's kind of funny how your life operates sometimes. I got at this job working for an entrepreneur who lived in Los Angeles, and he would go around and buy and sell businesses, and he hired me to run all the operations that he had in Tulsa. I'm 21 years old. Okay.
It's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we would, he would go buy the business and then basically turn it over to me and say, go in there, see what you can do to fix it, make it better, more profitable, and then we'll flip it, and then we'll go do something else, type of thing.
Simple task. Yeah.
Had this humongous office in downtown Tulsa. And here's irony of that is, I've been a senior officer in major corporations, Fortune 500 companies, et cetera. I've still never had an office as big as my first one, like ever. I mean, it was bigger than this room, my office.
Oh
okay?
my
I'm 21
gosh.
years old.
Yeah.
Well, I hit the jackpot. Okay, this is like, yeah.
You've reached it.
It didn't last. He ran into some financial problems, but the one thing that did for me is, when you get out of college, at least I did. I think I have to know everything. I've been in school my entire life. I've got to know it all. And I remember sitting in a meeting at this conference table, and I don't really think we were speaking about a particularly complicated topic. But I'm looking at the faces and I'm thinking, I think I'm the only guy here that doesn't have a clue what we're talking about. So I thought, I think I may need some more education.
Mhm.
So that's what made me decide to go back and get my MBA. And I just did it at night school. I worked full time, when I did it. Yeah. And then from there, when I got out, I had an internship at the Williams companies when I was in grad school.
Mhm.
And so
You
they
did it in
hired-
Tulsa?
Yeah, in Tulsa.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they hired me when I got out of school, and I did a lot of contract work, and that's why I went back to law school, so I better understand how to read legal agreements and things like that. And then from there, I'm kind of a job hopper,
Mhm.
type of guy. I'm not. He's been there 40 years. No, it's like I never worked anywhere longer than 8 years, which I think is actually a key to success, is you kind of manage your own career. But I worked at I was all energy company too, just like Ann. It was all energy companies, and eventually I became a CFO of some publicly traded companies. And after 25 years of doing that, I decided it's like I'm kind of tired of this corporate, life thing, and so I just went independent and I set up my own financial firm. And I've now in the last decade been actually working and living in New York, actually. So yeah. It's a little bit of a commute, but
Just a tad, just a
Yeah.
little bit
yeah.
You take the express shuttle from Stillwater.
Yeah.
to New York.
Yeah. Real express. Yeah.
What do you like better, New York or Oklahoma?
Well, it's I love them both.
Right.
I love
Their own
mine too.
differences.
It's night and day, because my front yard in New York is 6th Avenue with 8,000 taxis going by. And so
And that gets really, really old.
yeah, and
Real
I live
quick,
in
I'm sure.
And you live in an apartment. Yeah, kind of thing. So I like having grass and trees,
Mhm.
and
Nature.
So I would never want to live there full time, like ever. It's a great place. I mean, I don't know if you spend much time there or not.
I've never been to the Northeast, actually.
It's
ever.
beautiful.
Okay.
I mean, it's fun. You got Broadway, you got museums. It's a great place. It's actually easy to find your way around, actually, which most people are shocked. type thing. But it's just, most people that live there full time, they actually have another home outside the city because I got to get away at least for the weekend to have like a normal life, type thing. But I love them all. But, obviously I'm a native Oklahoman, and when Ann retired first, and she shocked me because I said, well, I travel all the time. That's all really I do. So I said, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay in Tulsa? You want to move to Florida, Colorado? We can even live overseas. I'm going to be gone anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And then she shocked me and she goes, I want to move back to our old college town. I'm like, like Stillwater?
Like Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Because she had never mentioned it one time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no. And she says, what do you mean? No, I said, there's nothing there. And she goes, no. You're thinking about Stillwater when we went to school there, which was true. Okay. And you wouldn't know this, but you would know this. It's like when I was in college here, there was one store in town where you could buy a men's shirt. One.
What was it? Is it still here?
No.
No.
It was called Bates Brothers.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a
I bought a
family
suit
thing.
there.
And that's my memory of Stillwater. So we came over here knocking around. And so I reluctantly said, okay, right. Yes.
Whatever she said.
Yeah.
Whatever she said.
But
It's a good man.
big picture, best call ever. Okay. I mean, I love living in Stillwater. Like Ann said, it's one of the biggest demographic trends in the United States are retirees moving to college towns for all the reasons she mentioned. Like our next door neighbor who just moved in, he's a friend of ours from California.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Spears schoolgirl.
He's a Spears guy.
We need to bring him in.
And his brother lived in our neighborhood before, and he lived in Tulsa, and we moved over here and said, you have to check this out. And so, they're all coming back. I'd say at least probably more than half our neighborhood are retirees that moved back here.
Three Weeseys. We got 3 Weeseys, and Carl left Dallas to come
that's
up
right.
this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Stillwater was actually the fastest growing retirement community in Oklahoma of like 2 or 3 years in a row.
I believe
Oh,
that.
wow.
I believe that.
Yeah, before the pandemic. And but all the reasons you talked about, you know, a good hospital, you got all that athletics
Good
and cultural
doctors.
things. And,
That's one of the hidden things that people don't know about Stillwater. You have to live here to know this, but when you move from a big town and you come here, it's like that. Well, you need to go to Oklahoma City or Tulsa to go to the doctor. Yeah, you kind of thing. Well, my doctor here trained at the Mayo Clinic. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think you're good. No, that's a solid.
I don't need to go. I
solid
don't need to go
doctor.
to Tulsa. Go to the guy. Yeah, and there's those guys everywhere. Around here because they want. He's a native Stillwater. Okay, and he did his thing. It's like, well, now I want to go back to Stillwater too. Kind of thing. So we love it. It's a great place to live. I think.
one of the things I know will shock people about you, Mike, is you mow your own grass and you cut your own trees.
Yes, I do.
So we've had many a discussion about mowers and tree trimming.
It's true. Probably the only person in our neighborhood.
Yes, I am. So.
Yeah. And it looks very good, by the way.
It's because I'm cheap.
Do you do your neighbors too? Do you have a little business on the side?
No, I don't.
On
no.
this?
I don't
Maybe
farm
later,
out.
maybe
No, I don't.
later.
Yes.
No, it takes me 2 hours to mow mine. I don't farm out. So
That's right.
I don't know if the price is right. You probably
Yeah.
We got some
That's
students
probably
here.
true.
I'm sure that would be happy to help with the
Yeah.
business.
I know.
So obviously you guys have contributed a lot to OSU, not just monetarily, but in other ways.
Mhm.
So how do you pick what you've donated money to?
Well, the way we started, which was the most natural thing to us, was scholarships. And the reason is that neither Ann and I came from families of any means at all. She's from farm family, 5 kids, all that. And, I was the only child. My mom's like, no, that's
Yeah, I can.
enough. Okay. But yet I still had to put myself through school and all that. So we only were able to come here because some years, 50 years ago, some donors out there who we don't know, didn't know us anything, said, I've got some scholarship money for you. So without them, I would have, and too, neither one of us would ever been able to go to college.
Still don't know who they
Yeah.
were to this day?
I have no idea.
Mm-mm.
It was just
Oh my
because it
gosh.
wasn't,
Because it
it
was
wasn't named. It was just a
non-designated.
general scholarship thing.
Okay.
But so that was the most natural thing in the world. It's like, okay, I suffered some really dark times, here because of money, including, many times not having 3 meals a day kind of thing. And I thought, if I can prevent one kid from having to go through what I had, it's worth every penny. And so we started for Ann. Actually, it was for your birthday. It was a birthday gift I gave her for her high school.
I
You
love
know,
that.
And then a couple of years later, we did the one from my high school, and then we've done some others, also. But that was the most natural thing because we know what it's like to try to go through school, and it's even worse now, I think, probably than when we were, just because everything's more expensive. There's more cost. I mean, school's way more expensive than it was when we were here, type thing. And so that was the first thing. It's like, let's help these kids. And I'll tell you, and we've given this talk to a lot of different groups and stuff, but if you've ever not done a scholarship, like, all you have to get is that first thank you letter. And I remember, Ann cried for days.
Because
it was
so,
basically, it's saying,
they wrote a very
without
meaningful
you,
letter.
I couldn't be living my dream. No. And it's like, and so then you slap
Personal
yourself.
impact.
Yeah.
You see
then
what it
so
did.
you whack yourself in the head and go, so why didn't I do this 10 years ago? Okay. Kind of thing, because it is making a direct impact and changing somebody's life.
And I'm certain you know the stats, but I would expect that once someone quits, it's not very high percentage that they're going to go back.
Yeah, if they do, it takes years sometimes for them to come back.
And we didn't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lose them, keep them in, get them out hopefully in 4 years.
But see, my scholarship at OSU Tulsa, the Will Rogers Scholarship, it's made for those people because it's only the last 2 years, right, at OSU Tulsa, and so they're all second chance people where it's like, I messed up. Here's a chance to go back and make my life right. And so I want to say in the 10 or 15 years I've had it, my youngest student's been 27. That's been the youngest.
Very non-traditional.
I've had some like
a lot
around
of single
40.
moms.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
And they have 2 or 3 kids, and they really recognize, like, I messed up, and here's a second chance for me. And they do well. Most of them are 4.0 students, and a lot, like the one I have right now, she's a accounting major, and et cetera. So yeah. So that's how we got started. It was really on the scholarship side, because that's something that changed our lives. And so that was easy to say, well, we need to do that for other people.
I'll
And
tell them why we did the next one.
go ahead.
You can talk about if you want to, the library room, but I'd watched a whole lot of OSU tennis with my dad, and it's at the Colvin. I drove by there today after our chef series, and I was like, oh my gosh.
It looks even worse now, doesn't it?
And it's actually been resurfaced because we thought we were going to host the national championship. And I dragged Mike along. My dad just got it. He loved it. He could sit there for hours. And so I have good memories of watching. And as we got back here, I learned that we were the only Big 12 school without a dedicated facility. And I thought, so we could never build a fan base. We had no bathrooms. We had
no locker rooms either.
No locker rooms. The girls changed in the car. And so I was like, Mike.
Remember, they're at the Colvin Center. So
yeah. And the Colvin it's just not equipped. And so we had good tennis, even though we had nothing, really nothing. And so we decided,
Well, also, wasn't it that if the students needed to use it, the team
we got booted.
Got booted, right?
Students had priority because it's owned by the Colvin Center.
Yeah, so the students had precedence over
the team.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's just a terrible, terrible. And so I said, Mike, I don't know about this. And so we decided and approached Coach Young and said, we think we can do better. And then we ultimately approached Mike Holder and caused him to faint. But I wanted that spot, because I don't want to be stuck way off somewhere. And I knew his vision through Gary Clark and others, that there's a vision for the athletic village, and it's genius. It's genius design. But no offense to where soccer is, but I just want it to be really close so that kids can actually walk and go to a match. Most of our students, the international students, don't have cars, so they ride bicycles or those little scooters, and they can have good dorms close by. And it's so, in other words, probably if you could ask us why we do things, it's we recognize the serious need that was probably no one else was going to step up. And luckily they did. People joined us. And so we were able to have what is really a very nice tennis center. We went from nothing to really nice.
Really nice.
The way we operate, that's a little bit unusual. And this is why she was saying Mike Holder was shocked, was, most people for major projects, they'll work somebody for years, like to try to get the money. We walked into Mike's office going, this is what we're going to do. What do you need? And he's like,
voluntary.
Who are you, these people?
Yeah.
Security.
Obviously, office
we
fans.
never even met Mike Holder before.
Yeah, we hadn't.
Oh, you hadn't developed a whole relationship or anything?
We hadn't done anything for athletics. It was all academics, kind of thing. But so what we do is we see a need, okay, and we say, okay, that really needs to be fixed. Can we do something or not? When this building was being built, of course, this is home for both of us. We're both Spears grads, and there were some tough times going on the fundraising side because we are an energy economy, and energy prices you're so happy. I remember, okay,
Yes.
tanked, and people were saying, "I know I committed, but I can't do it. I can't do it." And so we went to your dean this year and said, okay, we're stepping up. What do you need? Kind of thing. And of course, he just happened to have the blueprints with him. Okay.
Just in his pocket.
Just happened to have them, kind of thing.
Funny that you mentioned it.
So
It's on sale now.
So we're looking at stuff, and it's funny how ironic this turned out to be. I mean, it was just all happenstance, but there's this thing on there, and I go, what is this thing? He goes, well, it's the online learning center. I said, okay, we'll do that. And he's like going, oh, that's great. He goes, that's one of our fastest growing things. And of course, then the pandemic hit. So it's like, yeah, now it's really great.
Yeah, I was
right?
saying now it's really prime.
Well, and I also give you credit. You also, what is something people probably aren't going to fund?
No, that's true. Yeah.
And I said, this office probably. And so I appreciate the fact that.
And see, it made perfect sense to both of us. We're like going like, are you kidding? It's like, we didn't see the pandemic coming, don't get me wrong, but it's like, we can have kids overseas going to school here. It's like, great.
Reach a whole other world.
But really, that is our claim to fame also. It's just something nobody else wants to give to. We see no reason not to. That if there's a big need, we cannot let it go. As long as we can help, we're going to make it.
And you probably know we also did a major renovation over at the library. The reading room, which is dedicated to Ann. That was a surprise. I was doing. She didn't know I was doing it. She was actually on the committee.
With Tony Stone, Bill Stone, some more of your students.
There's some donor out there who's giving us all his money for stuff.
I did, and I even
There's
said,
Academy Award winning performance.
One time he was working at the desk, and I said, "We're having trouble getting this. We're bringing in light experts, and we needed light experts. It's very dark. It's bad." And I don't know if I just said, "Mike, if I was a donor, I'd be really hacked." And he's like, "Oh, and I was like, "Okay." But then we had the announcement, and I named a name of somebody who's already given to the library, and I said, "Oh, it's him." And then I saw my name, and I was like, "I think that's my name."
That looks familiar.
And I was going, "Dang it! I wish Mike would have come. He wouldn't come with me." And of course, he's right there. He brought my dad.
I was on the other side of the post.
He was hiding from me because he looked not good. Like at home, I just mowed the yard kind of good. And he said, "I don't need to go." And I said, "It really is pretty. You need to come see."
I said, "No, let's go."
Oh, he goes, "I'm really going to take a call." And so it was a wonderful surprise. That's my favorite kind of surprise. And then included in that, he did a thing. There's a gentleman, Mike Wimmer, who's a very good artist. And he painted a portrait to go there because we wanted to mirror the opposite room. And he did a fabulous job. But we did that after the fact. I guess he does most of he's done Burns and anybody, the governors.
In the Capitol. He does a lot in the Capitol.
But it was a wonderful, and it's used, and it's a joy for me to go to the library and just show up and give them a snack. And they go, "Mrs. Green," so if you know me from the band or something, and they'll go, "Mrs. Greenwood, we love this room." Or people send me pictures and say, "Look where I'm studying," that sort of thing. So that's kind of how we chose that, which is a beautiful room. And
here's a follow up on that story. So there's this 6-foot oil painted van over the fireplace.
So it's life size.
Yes,
it's big.
Yes. And she'll walk through there, and students will be like looking at her and looking at the picture, look at her, and then they'll say to Ann, Ann will go like, "Yeah, that's me," like that, and they go, "Oh, okay," and then she'll say, "You thought I was dead, didn't you?" And they go, "Yeah."
Yes, it's usually
because almost all the other pictures they're all long gone.
The other man, they were staring at each other across the big. He's not alive now. I was like,
yeah.
But anyway, it's kind of it's fun to see him, and they're like, "Oh, can we have a picture?" And I go, "Yeah, we'll do it." But it's not the notoriety; it's the fact that we were always bad. It was in terrible shape. It was dark and
that was really the same. Like Ann said, the same kind of process was that she was actually on the board of the library, and so I heard they wanted to do some project, and so I went over and I met separately with the dean over there. I said, well, what do you want to do? And she said, well, we want to do this, we want to do that. And we're in what's called the reading room, and it's dark.
Like, how are you going to read?
How are you supposed to read?
Yeah.
I mean, the shades are open.
Start
It's
a small
dark.
fire.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, what about, so this whole thing needs to be redone. And she goes, would you do that? I said, what, can you keep a secret? Yeah. Because there was literally, there was only 4 people in the university who knew it was me.
They kept it a secret. I had no
It
idea.
went on for 3 years. The project went on for 3 years.
3 years.
Well, because they only wanted to work on it on the summer, so they didn't have to shut the room down.
You know
so
how it
kids could
works there. It's
study.
got to be summer.
So it went on for 3 years. So it was like, she knew, Burns knew, like that was it. And I threatened everybody. I said, if this gets out, I'm pulling the money. So everybody's better like,
It was the
live
best
flock.
surprise
they threw
ever.
that key away. They
Yeah.
put that
I
threw it
mean,
away.
It wasn't. It was just, and Burns was there,
Yeah.
and Gary Clark. I think probably Gary Clark knew too. But I was like, holy cow! I worked on it.
And what was so funny was I couldn't hear her talking because I'm on their side of the post, but the people around me, they were trying not to bust out laughing because, like they said, she's right before the thing. She's telling everybody who it is, who the donor
I
is.
said, Patrick Cobb. It's the Cobb family. They always
it's
skips
a
all
Cobb-
over
it's
it.
Cobb family.
And he just cracks up.
And
when I
they're
tell him
they're
that
standing there
story.
going, like, trying not to laugh because they know it's me.
Mhm.
Okay, kind of thing. But anyway,
And it was a really, really hot day. And I had on nice linen shorts and an orange. I had on nice colors. But somebody said, you knew? And I was like, I would not have had this outfit on. No, I did not know. I had no idea this was happening. But it's a wonderful gift because it made my father so, so happy. And it's truly the center of this, except for the Spear School of Business, the current Spear School. It's the center of this campus.
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and it needs to be refreshed. And it's heavily, heavily used.
And then obviously the latest is the Greenwood School of Music building. And the way that one came about, it's kind of a surprising story too. I mean, first of all, Anna and I actually had classes in there when we were in school, not music classes, but like I took humanities classes in there.
Political
Okay.
science.
And, it hadn't changed a bit, and we have.
Bringing back memories.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah. And we
I think
have,
it's the same carpet.
we have really good faculty in the music school. And
And
that's
students.
what they got to work with. And, Burns told us, he said, most major high schools have a better auditorium than we have. Okay. Cause he's like, remember he was a big music lover,
Mhm.
too. And we also were donors for the McKnight Center. And so there was a lot of talk about music school, but it's 10 years out, 15 years out, 20 years out, whatnot. And so we're driving over to have a meeting on McKnight Center with, not with Burns, but with some of his people, Gary Clark, people like that.
Kurt.
And we live 5 miles from here. And on the drive over, we decided to do the music school on the 5 miles over. Okay. Because I could tell she was dying to do it. Okay. and so finally we're driving. I just said, do you want to do the music school? And she was, yes. Okay.
No, actually, I said yes, and then I said no. Then I said yes. I mean, I was like one of those because I was marking my time to get to Whitehurst. But what the big thing is, I had spoken with the foundation, a trusted friend there. I said, "Tell me this: will it happen? If no one steps up, or it's like,
Nope.
maybe someday." And all you have to do is be as close as you are, and you'll see the kids playing. They're practicing in the stairwells. They're practicing outside. There's nothing. It was so inadequate for the needs. So I was like, yes, I really want to. But then I was like, oh, But by the time we got down, I said yes. But you have to tell them about the meeting with Burns. It was interesting.
So-
President Hargis.
So again, Burns wasn't in the meeting. And so we got through with our McKnight meeting. And I dismissed most of the people out of the room except for Gary Clark was there and Kirk Jewell, who was, at that time was
that's
president
just
of the
us,
foundation. And I said, hey, we've got this idea about doing the music school. And Gary goes, I need to get Burns. I'm like, wait. No. So he drags Burns in. So I explained to Burns. And Burns goes, so wait, you're telling me that you'll do this and this and this and this, and you'll do it right now? And I said, yeah. And he was done. And I said, no, I was just kidding. That's what I said. That's what I said. He goes, no, they heard you say it. You can't take it out, Burns. You can't take it back. They heard you say it. I go, yeah. So we're off and running.
Yeah. And he, quite frankly, he thought about it and he goes, you could tell he was having one of those out of body moments just as I was. And he said, he just kind of teared up and he goes, you have no idea how much this is going to make a difference.
Because again, no one had talked to us about doing it. But Burns hadn't talked to us about doing it. He talks about doing the McKnight, which we did, that kind of thing. And so that's kind of what we do. We just kind of look around and we see stuff and we go, like, can we fix that? Because that really needs to be fixed. And like Ann said, most things we do is that if we don't fix it, I guess it's not going to get fixed.
Done.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because I mean, on campus, it was like, that'll happen in maybe 20 years, if ever.
Yes.
I mean, that was pretty much the understanding.
And the PAC is wonderful and it serves a purpose. But what we are really about is students. And we needed the building that they learn in.
Mm-hmm.
And we love the idea that it's connected. So they practice here. We went to a concert last night, warm up, walk right to the stage. I mean, that's a perfect storm of good to be able to make a difference. Yep. And as always, just as you had people step up, people immediately joined, many, many families, and said, you're right, that's what we have to do. And so, I mean, it was just like, we are kind of the catalyst, and then everyone joined.
But one credit that I want to make sure everybody hears, and that we've said this many times, is that the biggest catalyst for us was Boone Pickens. Okay. And it was his 80th birthday or 80th birthday. For his 80th birthday, he was out here on the library lawn and he made this comment to all of us. He said, I don't understand why people wait till they die to give away their money when they can't see what it does. And that just stuck in us.
Yeah.
And we're driving home going like, that's exactly what we were going to do. Put it all in a estate plan. When we die, somebody will get the money, have a good time. Kind of thing. And so we decided, let's start doing stuff now.
To see it, see the impact and everything.
And I'll tell you, it's like when the tennis team, the first moment they stepped on the courts and hit the first ball, I will never forget the smiles on their faces. Some way over at McKnight. I mean, just everything. It's like, you get to see it, kind of thing. And I mean, that was the biggest catalyst of all, it was like a big wake up call.
And
for us.
When I was lucky enough to get to speak, or was asked to speak at his memorial, I told that story, and I really mean it. He changed the lives of so many of us, but he particularly changed the lives of these two right here. And, had he not spoken and made us think, wait a minute, let's do it now. I think it's that's what we tell everybody. Please don't forget who helped you along the way. And when you can, please help. And it just goes on forever, and we continue to make OSU better and better. But I was most touched that his daughters or family members, granddaughters, came up and said, we've never heard that story before. We are so thankful that you chose to tell it. And I was glad to.
Well, obviously OSU was much better for having you two around. So I know there's not too many corners of this campus you haven't touched. So I know that we're all appreciative. So
I have to tell you one other funny story about Burns. So, tennis is on the north side, music building's on the south side. We got library here. He said, what are you going to do for the west side?
Yeah, I was about to ask any other projects coming up.
We got you kind of covering east.
Yeah, that's right.
That's never enough for Burns. Like, I'm working on it.
We'll let you know. Let you know.
He had some good ones. As you know, he liked to joke. He was a great president, though.
Well, thank you both for being here. I just, as a personal note, one of the highlights of me being dean is getting to know both of you much better. I mean, honestly, I mean that sincerely. Just two of the best people I know, and so it's been an honor to get to know you more and work with you. So, again, on behalf of OSU, we owe you a lot for what you've done.
Well, and we'll say the same about you because as far as we're concerned, you set the standard for what a dean should be.
No, you really do.
And that's why you've been elevated to your deanness, okay? Which is not just dean; it's beyond dean. You're
that's
above
one step
that.
above.
And everything we have here, everything we do. I mean,
the caliber of students.
You took some bold steps to do things on the curriculum, things we needed to be do, and so we're always there for you too because you've totally changed everything around here for the better.
Well, I appreciate that. So,
but we also do have fun together too.
That is true. You guys are a lot of fun. I'll also
laugh.
say that. So.
It's good times.
All right. Thank you all. We'll see you next time on The Buzz on Business.